This is BigStitch lesson number 2. We're going to cover marking, threading, and knotting the pearl cotton. We've got the practice piece. This one is 22 by 22, and it's composed of muslin, batting, and muslin, and it is hand basted in a large tic-tac-toe design from edge to edge with inch-long stitches in regular thread. So to mark, I need a template. This one I traced onto acetate and then cut out with scissors. I call this a pierced pumpkin seed. And for marking, I like to use chalk. These chalk pencils come in a pack with 4 colors and their own sharpener. That's very important. So with the motif in the middle, I'll start marking around it. And I'm going to try to mark as lightly as I can and still see the marks as I quilt. And remember, if you make a mistake while you're marking, it doesn't mean that you have to quilt that mistake in. You can just correct it with your quilting. But I always plan to wash my quilt after it's done to get any leftover chalk marks out. Chalk usually rubs off as the quilt is handled, so I usually just mark what I plan to quilt that day. There's the center motif. Now we need background lines, diagonal ones. I use a straight edge, put it down corner to corner over the center motif. These rotary cutting rulers come in very handy. I start marking and skip over that center motif. Then offset the ruler by about 1 inch and mark a line parallel to it, again skipping over that center motif, and continue in this fashion until you've covered the whole practice piece. Now, diagonal lines make a nice background, but in order to get in more practice, I recommend that you do cross-hatching. Just rotate the ruler 90 degrees, line them up with the other corners, and again, mark along your straight edge, skipping over that center motif, and again, staggering your ruler about 1 inch, marking a parallel line to that other one, and continue doing this until you've covered the entire piece with chalk marks. Then the needle needs to be threaded with the pearl cotton number 8. We're going to use about 24 inches. Any longer than that, and it tends to tangle up on you. So I'm going to put my rubber finger on the index finger in advance. I'll show you why in a minute. I use larger quilting betweens. Number 7s are fairly large quilting betweens to accommodate the thicker thread. So also I use a wire type of needle threader, such as this one, and it has some delicate wires on each end. This is a two-ended quilt threader, and needle threader, excuse me. And I just put those wires through the eye of the needle and the pearl cotton through the wires. And before I slide the needle off the wires, I'm going to use the rubber fingertip to grip the wires tightly, like that. Otherwise, these delicate wires will pull out with the pearl cotton every time. And you're out of business and you've lost $4 for the needle threader. Okay, I'll take this off again. And to knot the pearl cotton, here's a quick knot. Lay the end over the needle and take 1, 2, 3 wraps, grip them loosely and pull those wraps off the needle, down the pearl cotton to the end. And if your tail is too long, you may want to trim it. Ta-da!